Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of X Off-Road. Sorry we broke our streak on uploading every Sunday, but we were waiting for parts and I didn't want to put out a short little video. So this one is going to be on redoing the track bar, which is a project that I've been putting off for a long time now. If you know anything about track bar versus drag link geometry, I'll show you what we're dealing with here. The wheel is turned, but you can see how much longer this drag link is versus the track bar. So when you have that, that induces bump steer. In extreme cases, it can cause all sorts of death wobble and tracking issues and tire wear issues and stuff, but in my case, mostly the issue is bump steer, and that causes this Jeep to be pretty hard to drive on the road. So I'll show you what that's all about because you can see it in the steering wheel. So let's check it out. Alright, so we're here in the Jeep. This is probably the best way that I can show it to you. So really the main issue I'm having is when you're driving on the highway or anything above like 50-55 miles an hour, this thing is all over the road. It's darty. It makes people uncomfortable to drive it. I'm pretty much the only one that can drive it because I've gotten used to it by now. What happens is, as the suspension cycles, whether it's hitting bumps or going around turns and you get body roll, the two bars they're parallel, but they're not the same length, so they want to swing on a different arc. So as the suspension goes through its travel, it's causing the steering to turn because the track bar wants to move the axle in one arc, and then this drag link wants to take the steering in a different arc that's on a different radius. Let me try and explain that a little bit better. On the front end of a solid axle vehicle, you have your drag link, which connects your pitman arm to the steering knuckle, and that provides all your steering. And then you have your drag link, which connects the axle to the frame. Basically what happens is they work together to keep the body centered over the axle, and the steering has something to push against. Pretend this is your drag link. You'll be about on this angle. You have your pitman arm here, and you have your steering knuckle here. When you turn your steering wheel, the pitman arm turns, and as you can see, turn the wheels. What you want is your track bar to be exactly the same length and on the exact same angle. You want them to be perfect mirrors of each other. That way, when, say your wheels are here, when the suspension travels up and down, as you can see in this hand, this isn't going anywhere because this is the body of the vehicle in this hand. As the axle travels up, see how it's essentially making an arc right here? If you can imagine this would go all the way around, it's going to try and draw a circle. So you want them to be exactly the same, because if you have a shorter bar, you're going to draw a tighter circle. So the arc it's going to travel on a different path if both of these go up and down. So what happens is, if, say, this is your track bar, which is the way mine was, it was significantly shorter than my drag link. As you travel, it's trying to pull the axle to one side of the Jeep while your drag link is following a different path. So the outcome of that, something's got to give because these can't push against each other and they're locked in place. The steering turns. See the way it turns and then turns back as the suspension falls again? So watch here, I'll do it again. And see how it totally even took me offline? So, like I said, mostly the issue is on the highway, but it also does this off-road when I was in Sand Hollow and I was hitting those sand dunes and stuff and going through the suspension travel. It caused a lot of wandering and it just makes it not confidence inspiring. So today's project is lengthening that track bar, which could turn into a little bit of a project because I have to custom make everything and come up with new mounts. I'm gonna have to figure out somewhere to put the sway bar link and stuff, so it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll get it done, and I'm hoping that cures all my issues, because if it doesn't, I don't know what else to do. I've changed all the suspension on this. This used to drive awesome when it was on stock axles and 37s, and now with the 40s and Dana 60s, as soon as I put them in, the Jeep was all over the road. So let's get into it. My buddy Brian is going to come help out today, and we're going to be doing this in my parents' driveway, and it's 55 degrees and windy, so hopefully the audio is okay. So as Brian's grinding away over there, what we decided to do is move the track bar bracket pretty far out. We're about 10 inches in the difference between the two, but with the bracket going all the way out almost to the sea, we can get about 5 inches. So basically cutting the difference. So long story short, the track bar will be about 5 inches shorter than the drag link. Fill in the rest. Come on! I guess we'll tack it all up.
Yeah, that's gonna go in last one.
I'll tack here and here, here and here, and then like somewhere over here. And then we'll build the track bar. Make sure that all cycles and the steering's all good, and then burn it in. Alright, so here's where we're at. We got the track bar bracket on. We got it in the top hole. See the new bar there? It's clearancing everything. We're gonna move to over the knuckle, but our only concern is we're getting super close to the track bar bracket there. We still have a little bit of bump left, so we're gonna try and run it. We're having issues with the wind blowing the shielding gas away. Struggle is real out here, man. Struggle is real. All YouTube to critique that one.
Oh yeah, eliminator.
Are you sure the fuck welding uphill? Are you using 70-76? I would have taken it.
Take me nuts.
I thought these handbars were well better than you. The red clouds well better than this? So we're just burning this the rest of the way in. and tomorrow I'm going to come back. I'm going to try and tackle the sway bar link because that's out of the way now. I'm going to see what happens with having unequal length links. I'm not sure, but I think it'll work. We managed to save the old tab by cutting it off pretty cleanly, so we'll give it a shot, and if not, we'll figure something out. But for now, we're going to burn it in, and then I'll probably head on home, and then tomorrow we'll flex it out.
What do you think, Pete? How'd we do?
I think we did pretty good. You did pretty good.
I didn't do shit.
You did the whole job. Now as they watch me arc myself to oblivion.
Remember, folks, it's always red to black, black to red.
There she is. We have it's alive. All right, today is day 2 on the track bar rebuild. Today is going to be mostly just adjusting and trying new things because it's still not exactly perfect, but I think I might be able to also sneak in a little upgrade by moving to high steer. So I think with that and the track bar in the top position, it'll be perfect, but I'll show you that all here in a minute. It's significantly colder today, so I managed to squeeze the Jeep in. Just barely fits on each side. Hopefully that'll keep me out of the wind here today. It's going to be a little bit darker in there, but at least I won't be freezing my butt off. So here, check out these track bar settings that I tried last night that were off camera. All right, so off camera yesterday when we finished up, we actually managed to get it back on the road. And I tried a couple different positions before I headed home, and I wanted to drive it around, see how it was. So right now we have all the steering links, which is the drag link and the tie rod. They're both in the position where I've been running them for a long time. And I messed around with the track bar in a couple different mounting positions to see how that got me. So we tried this middle hole right here. Let me get some light for you. We tried the middle hole there, which seemed to be the best position for this current steering configuration. But I moved it up to this top hole to give it a shot, and as you can see, it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but it's not quite parallel. The track bar is actually higher than the drag link. So what I'm going to do is I would really like to try and mount this over the knuckle and high steer, so we'll be moving the tie rod up into here and then the drag link up top here. I think once the drag link's up there, it'll be much more parallel and in line with the drag link, or excuse me, the track bar. And I just real quick scabbed on a sway bar link mount. So that was pretty much the only place I could put it. If anyone knows if it makes any difference having different length sway bar end links, let me know. The bar angle is correct, so I'm not worried about it flipping. But see how much longer this link is on this side versus this side? I can't seem to wrap my head around any way that could make a difference, but I've never seen it done anywhere else, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. But we're gonna get into it right now. I'm gonna take some measurements, wrestle this steering, and convert it over to high steer and give it a shot. As you saw yesterday in one portion of it, when we did have it configured high steer, when we have this up into here, it gets super close to this track bar bracket when I flex it out. So I'm going to run it like that for now. I'm not going to wheel it yet because I still need to paint that stuff over there, and it's too cold to do that now. But Rough Stuff sells 1-inch offset Heims, or excuse me, Barnes, I believe, sells them. So I'll probably get those, which will mount here, and it'll bring the it'll bring the tie rod probably out to here-ish, so 1 inch forward. So it might be good enough to clear there, and hopefully clear my pitman arm too, because as this axle comes up, it also swings forward, so it pretty much lines up the tie rod with the pitman arm. So let's give it a shot. Got like 54¼ inches on the mark. So let's write that down because I'll go brain dead. Alright, so we just got everything set up to high steer now. Check it out. Look at all that clearance. I really hope this is going to work. I was able to move up the hydro assist up into the top hole there. Pretty tight with the lines and stuff. Looks like the track bar is going to crash into it, but if you look at this angle, it's just going to squeak by. Only issue still is this gap here. So, like I said, I might have to get some of those offset Heims. Then I'll move everything out 1 inch on this tie rod. That'd probably help with the lines being super close there. Let's go give it a drive. See how it handles. Honestly, with the amount of ground clearance that was gained, if it drives like it did, I'm fine with it. If not, and it's all over the road, maybe I'll put it back to the steering and the configuration it was, and then the track bar back down a hole. That was about the best that we had. In this clip, you can really see how much the suspension travels just normal driving on the road. So you can imagine that track bar and that drag link fighting against each other to decide which path to take. Alright, I just took it around the block. It's probably about as good as it was with the steering down where it normally was, and then the track bar down one bolt hole. So I'm going to leave it there because it seems to be the best all-around gains. I gain all sorts of ground clearance, plus it steers pretty well. Still has a little bit of bump steer, I'll show you in the steering wheel shot, but look at how much clearance I gained by going over the knuckle. Alright, so here's a steering wheel test again. This is with the steering over the knuckle and the track bar in the highest bolt hole. So as you can see, still has some bump steer for sure, but I don't think I'm going to be able to avoid that, honestly, because this track bar is still about 5 inches shorter than the drag link. Now with the steering where it was and then moving the track bar down 1 bolt hole, it was definitely less of a bump steer, but I'd rather the trade-off of being kind of in between, but having bump steer and having all the clearance. So I'm gonna take both, and neither are gonna be perfect, but I get two benefits out of one project, so I think that's good for me. What do you guys think? Let me know. All right, we got her zipped the rest of the way in here. I'm just cleaning up the shop, but not too bad. So when I was turning the steering wheel and stuff the way it was, I had all sorts of clearance around that bracket, but now that I'm in a high steer configuration, it gets a little bit too close to that sway bar link. So I went on to Barnes and I ordered those offset Heims, so that should take care of everything. It'll give me more clearance there. It'll give me more clearance between here because it'll bring everything out this way. And hopefully it'll get it to drop right between here, or we'll see. We will see, but I'm super happy with how much clearance we gained here. I wasn't really having issues with hitting my tie rod on many things. Looking at it, there was only a very few amount of scrapes on it, but yeah, every inch counts. That'll about do it for this project. Pretty excited about it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.